What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28. That's the one, the only Scott Savage. You can find him at Savage. Scott, welcome back, buddy. It is Tuesday, and we always have a lot to talk about. What is happening? What'd you do last night? You play anything?
I've been playing a couple games for review, but I've been kind of just stuck on that one track for a while. I'm looking for a shooter that I can throw some time at, but nothing's really kind of making the cut.
Nothing's grabbing you, eh? You gotta get in these little funks every now and then. You kind of crave something like, oh, I don't know, a stealth game, and sometimes you just can't find it. So, but either way, this is ITG Daily. If you can't join us live over on twitch.tv/theofficial ITG or YouTube, you can catch it later. Catch it over at insidethegame.ca. Hit us up at podcast services or TV streaming networks around the globe. Scott, coming up on today's show, Final Fantasy is getting an animated TV series. Is Kojima's next project abandoned? It's for PS5, and Sony supports Crossplay. Sort of, I guess. We'll see how we'll talk about that one, because there's lots to talk about when it gets into the world of PlayStation and the world of Crossplay. But let's kick it off, Scott. Final Fantasy is getting an animated TV series. Final Fantasy IX is the latest gaming adventure to get its own animated series. The company in charge of production promises that it will be a kid-friendly adventure that fans will love. The Final Fantasy IX animated series is being developed by French Cyber Group Studios alongside Square Enix. The goal for the studio is to begin production at the end of 2021 or the beginning of 2022 at the latest. The games have a strong co-viewing potential. So that's what the CEO of Cyber Group Studios had to mention. Scott, thoughts on this?
Well, I realized just with that last statement that Pierre had said, games have a strong co-viewing potential.
Yeah,
I definitely understand that in the case of Final Fantasy. I've had my roommate now, longtime friend. He's been playing Final Fantasy games near me for a long time, and that's the majority of my experience, actually. So between that and I'm actually a fan of the Final Fantasy animated movies that have come out so far.
Right.
Even The Spirit Within, people really don't like that one, but I've loved all of it. So I'm actually looking forward to this one specifically. I don't know anything about 9 as a title.
Yeah.
But I think it'll fit well based on every other piece of media I've seen.
So they're going for the kid-friendly approach, right? And I think that, like they said, right, it's co-viewing potential. And you watched it. I've watched other Final Fantasy movies alike. So it's definitely curious to see where this goes. But they obviously haven't started anything because it's going to come at the end of 2021 or beginning of 2022. When do you think we actually see anything on this?
I think that there could be some episodes coming out end of 22, I think.
Yeah.
But I think it's likely going to take that entire space. If they begin in 2022, then it's really running the clock at that point. And
yeah,
it could be a whole year after that.
It absolutely could be. Scott, let's get into Blue Box's PS5 exclusive Abandoned coming to PC eventually. But there's other, man, this whole story right now is just all over the place. So let's get into it. Coming off of weeks of speculation over whether their new game Abandoned is a stealth Hideo Kojima project, Blue Box Game Studios has revealed some information about another platform this game might be released on. Abandoned is currently slated for an exclusive release on PlayStation 5, but according to a couple of tweets from the studio over the weekend, that may only be a matter of console exclusivity. In response to someone claiming they don't own a PS5, Blue Box responded with, "The PC community will rejoice." And when asked straight out if Abandoned is coming to PC, eventually was the answer given. But Scott, there's a whole whirlwind of stuff going on here because Abandoned first initially teased, and then somehow Kojima got wrapped into this whole scenario as well. And they want to know if this is like a Silent Hill take, because it had the way Blue Box tweeted it out, it kind of made reference to Silent Hill and Kojima, but then they say, no, sorry for the misconfusion here. There's nothing to do with Kojima. And over the last weekend, I think this is Kojima's next game. That's what I see.
Yeah, that certainly seems to be the conspiracy. I've kind of come across some people on Twitter talking about it as if it's some crazy, huge out there conspiracy that he's been working on this game for a long time now.
Yeah.
But that seems to be the consensus, is everybody's looking at this as, well, Kojima must be doing something, right?
Yep. No, absolutely. So they've also put in a tweet that they've been working with PlayStation, they being Blue Box, since 2015. Well, it's funny because when did Kojima start? 2015. So there's just there's so many things that line up. And the biggest thing for me, Scott, if this wasn't a Kojima game whatsoever, right? Because we know how Kojima loves to play these games. Remember when they announced Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain? Like, dude, even Ground Zeroes was a bit of a tease and a whole mystery behind that. And then there's a guy with his bandage around his face, and like the whole conspiracy of it just kind of unraveled over time. And then this is kind of, it feels like it's very similar to that vein of what's going on. But what's going on now is that PlayStation, dude, has said absolutely nothing. And that's why I think it is Kojima, is because if it wasn't and Blue Box was mistweeting all this stuff, I think PlayStation would have been on Twitter right away and shut it down. And they haven't said anything.
Yeah, that makes sense. They would have clamped down on it if there was misinformation going on.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is maybe just a smart marketing ploy.
Oh, man.
If they start dropping just Kojima hints in their game just
right?
to let it skyrocket in popularity, that would be a smart idea, unless you're lying about that situation. That would smash back in the face quite hard. But
I'm definitely curious to see if there are two sides, right? If Kojima is on the project, this is a Kojima way of doing things. So it's that mind share, that mind game of how he likes to kind of twist everything around. So I'm curious to see what happens there. But if this is Blue Box actually doing all this stuff, dude, I don't know how good that looks on the studio.
Yeah, that would be a big issue for sure. But I'm just hoping that Kojima actually does have a part in this, and it all fits together nicely. That would be great.
Absolutely. So they're saying it could be a spin-off of Silent Hill. Kojima produced PT over on the PlayStation 3, which you can no longer get whatsoever. So he's always wanted to do this, right? So maybe it could be the next version of Silent Hill in his mind coming out. And then other people are saying maybe it's a stealth game. I don't see it being a stealth game. I think we'll have a better chance of getting a Silent Hill game out of Kojima than we will another stealth game.
Yeah, I could see maybe just some stealth elements to it, but it's a hopeful thinking when Kojima is involved for it to be a stealth game. I think that's just what everybody kind of hopes and assumes associated with his name is, of course, Metal Gear.
Oh my god. Dude, remember the tease we got out of Summer Games Fest? It was a Metal Gear level, man, and I was losing it. And then you mentioned the fact that when you drop the oranges, Scott, what does that stand for?
Yeah, that symbolizes the death of a title in a lot of Eastern anime. That's a symbol they use. So that's not a good sign so far.
No, not at all, right? So rest in peace, Metal Gear.
Yeah. There's nobody that can take that over.
Dude, who would you even pass that off to? I think that's the biggest question. What studio, first of all, would have the gall to even take that on going, yeah, we can do this? I'm like, man, you're playing with one of the biggest properties out there with a name that has been known around the globe. Like, you can't just take that on, right? So who would you give that to, Scott? Who do you think that actually could maybe put their own spin on a Metal Gear game?
It would be interesting. I have to pump one of my favorites, Respawn, but those are some big boots to fill.
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, Arcane. I give it to Arcane. The team behind Dishonored. I would give them the Metal Gear, and I'd love to see what they could do with it.
That's interesting, actually, yeah, because they've done stealthing, they've done pathing, they've done a lot of more intricate AI work for the enemy, so that actually would be a pretty good choice.
That'd be cool to see. There, Arcane, I'm calling you out. Go get it, man. Somebody's got to go get this thing. We're never going to see it again. Scott, what we are going to see, though, is Psychonauts 2 development has involved with no crunch, which is awesome, right? Development staff over at Double Fine that have worked on Psychonauts 2 say that the game has been developed with no crunch. That's always been a big focus within the game industry. You get to the end of the game's life cycle, ready for production, and everybody has to jump in for hours on end. You have to crunch on this game. You are there for 100, 150, 200 hours a week kind of scenario, right? So it's nice to see, but I think this is also the fact that the Double Fine is now owned by Microsoft. So it is a matter of, just take your time.
Yeah, somebody's paying the bills already to keep the lights on, so you're afforded that time. But this is a nice contrast to what we've seen lately, especially. There's certain standouts, of course, that could have used a little bit more time and suffered greatly because of crunch. So it's nice to see that some studios are able to time manage, or in this case, financially manage, whichever gets the result of more time in the oven for their project. And Psychonauts 2 it's a very beloved franchise that hasn't come out for a long time. So this is good news. Hopefully something really good is coming together, and that's good for everybody involved, really.
No, absolutely. It's nice to see that there was no crunch over there at Double Fine. Double Fine's such a creative and wacky studio. Dude, are you interested in Psychonauts 2 at all?
I am, yeah. I've only seen little clips of Psychonauts 1.
Yeah.
So I'm certainly not a diehard fan or anything, but it's just so wacky and colorful, and it's something that I want to play recently.
No, for sure. Nate joins us over at twitch.tv/theofficialitg and says, we are moving into a new generation. Not totally out of the question. You play Metal Gear a long time ago. We old now. Yeah, we are old, dude. I don't want to talk about that part. But he says you never know. We could possibly get it back. I don't see it happening. But we'll see what happens. He says he wants another Conker's Bad Fur Day 2.
Yeah, that's a solid one right there too.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know who would take that on, but again, if anybody wants to print money.
That's bad for a day. Go for it. See what happens. Give that to Arcane as well. They can take them both. All right, Scott, last week you and I were talking about the Oculus Quest and the fact that they're starting to bring in-game ads, and this made us very, very nervous for the future of the Oculus Quest console platform and everything under the world of VR, because all of a sudden now that ad is like right in your face. Well, Resolution Games no longer participating in the Oculus Quest headset ad. So let's get into this. Virtual and augmented reality developer Resolution Games is no longer taking part in an Oculus in-app advertising trial. That didn't last very long at all, Scott. Resolution Games was set to test in-app ads inside VR shooter Blastin'. However, the company has reconsidered the move following feedback from the community over the last week. Quote, to make it clear, we realize that Blastin' isn't the best fit for this type of advertising test. As in an alternative, we are looking to see if it is feasible to move this to small temporary test to our free games. So they're still like bait, they said. So they're still looking at ways to implement this, but for their, I guess, AAA experience, Blastin' is not going to get it. Scott, dude, I don't want this, man. I really just don't want ads thrown in my face when I'm in the middle of a VR game.
No, that is the most
horrific,
extreme, take you out of the scenario kind of experience. And there's not much worse other than if, the toilet gave me advertisements or something while I was on it. I can't think of a worse, more obstructive kind of moment than VR, something to pop into your screen, or even if it's just kind of augmented reality, kind of slipping something into the background.
Oh man,
that's still not something I want to see, and I think it's a slippery slope.
Yep.
Once that starts, how long until it's Pizza Hut's hitting me every 10 minutes?
No thanks.
No, I don't think anybody was excited about that.
No,
and it's good that the feedback made it to some sources, somebody who can do something about it.
Absolutely. So now the developer over there is like, nope, we're not doing this. Good. Keep it out of the games. Keep it out of all games. I don't want it in there like that at all. VR is it's such a cool experience, and the last thing you need, because everything's already in your face, the last thing you want is that. So let's get out of that, Scott, and let's get into Battlefield 2042 revealed causes Battlefield 4 server capacity increase. When DICE shared its first look at Battlefield 2042, the first-person shooter love and hype went through the roof. It's easy to see why shooter fans are excited to get their hands on the latest adventure. While we still have some time yet to wait, first-person shooter players have been swarming Battlefield 4 to brush up on those aiming skills. Quote, we were absolutely blown away by your excitement and reactions to the recent Battlefield 2042 reveal. Since then, many of you have jumped back into Battlefield 4 to already get a taste of the return to all-out warfare. We've been monitoring your experience and noticed queue times in the U.S. West region were far longer than in other regions. Good news, we've increased server capacity for this region. You can expect less waiting and more playing.
Oh man, that's wild that they have to push server capacity on a game that's as old as 4. I can't remember exactly when Battlefield 4 came out, but it's getting back there now. That's an aging game.
Yeah.
But of course, Battlefield 5 doesn't quite hit the mark for a lot of people. It's World War II. And Battlefield 1 missed the mark again because of the outdated weaponry and the scenario there, World War I. So to see everybody roll back all the way to Battlefield 4, it's good news for me, because I think it shows a lot of people have that interest in the modern or near future. We can kind of group that in with modern class of shooters.
Yep.
And the hype surrounding this new Battlefield is so large that many people went back to 4. I know that kind of happens with the onset of every game, every Battlefield that drops. People get really excited. Hey, this is better than COD. And then they jump online and they play it for hours and hours. So I hope we see that same population get into the new game.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see what happens. Scott, I want to get into Sony supports and encourages crossplay, says it'll be more common in the future. Sony has resolved to continue allowing crossplay on the PlayStation platform in the months and years to come. In an interview with Axios, CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, Jim Ryan, has said that Sony wants more cross-platform multiplayer in games going forward and praises that the way crossplay has worked so far for the company. We support and encourage crossplay, he says, speaking of the popularity cross-platforming games like Fortnite, Call of Duty, Rocket League, Minecraft, and more. As for Ryan, the number will continue to grow as more games make leaps from closed players' ecosystems to connect more solutions. Scott, what are your thoughts on this? He was asked a little bit more details, and he kind of just would not comment because of the Epic versus Apple lawsuit. Because we all know about how, really, PlayStation is getting paid for crossplay.
Yeah, they are. If you wanna do business in PlayStation Town, it's gonna cost you. And so far, PlayStation has racked in quite a lot of money. I think specifically in the case of Epic with Fortnite.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I remember when Fortnite turned that on, and they did it very quietly, and the players took notice. People started seeing spaces in gamer tags. They were like, "What? You can't have spaces on PlayStation?
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense." And then it was this big mystery that was unwound, and they discovered that cross-plat was possible, and it was supported. PlayStation made them turn it off until they paid the ransom and were allowed back on. So it's strange to see there's this kind of support, and they're playing it up as if they've supported it the entire time.
Well, exactly.
I don't necessarily believe that.
Well, not at all. Look at Gearbox, right? The president and CEO, Randy Pitchford, suggested it was Sony blocking crossplay for Borderlands 3. So it kind of where does this really stand? Yeah, you want to do crossplay? Then get your wallet out. Like I don't really know, but man, I don't know. I have a lot of questions about the future of crossplay on PlayStation. Yeah, they want it because right now they're charging for it, but it sounds like they're the only ones doing so. And it just seems like an odd model that people are going to follow suit. And I think maybe that's why Gearbox isn't doing it. And then they bailed out. Like, no. We're not going to do that. And there's a reason why maybe Hood, when we're talking about Hood Outlaws and Legends, when we do crossplay on Xbox, it goes to PC. It doesn't go to PlayStation. So are the PlayStation people over there, the fans over there, if you have Hood Outlaws and Legends on PlayStation, let me know. Are you getting crossplay at all with PC players? Or is it just PlayStation? Is that an option for you guys? Because Xbox and PC play well together. And so do they with Nintendo. So PlayStation just doesn't play well with others. And we talked about it numerous times. But Scott, let's get into game releases for today.
All right. We have significantly more than we did yesterday.
Let's do it. I want to talk about this one.
There's absolutely no releases yesterday. But today we have the Sea of Thieves new update. I believe it's just an update. DLC of sorts. Is live today. That is A Pirate's Life.
Absolutely.
Featuring Jack Sparrow.
Oh, man. Dude, I can't wait. So this, I want to talk about it because this game is so cool. Kyle and I jumped in the other day. We finished up some Rainbow Six. We're like, hey, let's play some Sea of Thieves. 3 hours later, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm done. I'm like, oh, my God, man. But now for Jack Sparrow's being in here in the Pirate's Life DLC, completely free. It is you and your crew only in the world. So when you go out, you are not going to get trolled by anybody else. They want you to experience this story. There's 5 chapters, and there are save points. So if you have to leave, you can come back later and pick up where you left off at certain checkpoints. Awesome.
That's good, because it sounds like there's several hours at least to this. We haven't seen too much, but we've seen Jack Sparrow. We've seen Davy Jones with the Flying Dutchman. That looks impressive.
I can't wait. I lost it when they announced this on the E3 Xbox Bethesda showcase, man. I can't wait. Kyle and I already got a set for tonight. We're jumping in. What's next, Scott?
I'm going to have to join you as
Dude,
well.
Absolutely
I've got that on the PC. And
yep.
Luckily our cross-plat works just fine.
That's what's next?
We have one that we've taken a look at, you and I together, actually. Yep. King's Hunt has another open beta. I believe the last beta was closed. They may have done one open beta beforehand, but in any case, they are releasing a new open beta test that begins today. So if you're curious on that, it's a bit of a MOBA, a bit of a fighter. It's kind of a mix-up. That one's interesting.
They're very cool.
Now, for full release titles, we have a few today. There is Dark Alliance.
Not doing so well.
There's a little bit of some troubles in that one, but
yep.
We're gonna have to touch on that one, I think, soon. That is coming to the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Series X and S, and the PC. Just about everything except for a Switch there. Now, there is another one. Just trying to make sure I get this title here. Ender Lilies, Quietus of the Nights. That's a curious title. That's coming to the Switch and the PC. Then we have Lego Builder's Journey. That one's coming to the Switch and PC also. Olympic Games Tokyo 2020, the official video game. And that one's coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, Stadia, and the PC.
That one's everywhere, Scott. Almost seems like it's dude. Yeah, we got to jump into Sea of Thieves. So that's the highlight of my list on this one. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
No, I'm excited too. It's been a long time since I got in, and now's the time.
Absolutely. Scott, and that is the time for the show. Everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. This has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you all the hottest in gaming news. You can join us live every day, Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, over on twitch.tv/theofficialITG YouTube. But if you can't join us live, no big deal. Hit us up later, InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. Until tomorrow, everybody, we'll see you inside the game.